1. Momentum swing theory. Momentum swing theory is the idea that a single play can instantly flip control of a match. It's not about slowly building pressure. It's about one spark that changes everything. It could be a perfectly timed stuff block against the opponent's biggest hitter, or a serve that drops untouched right on the baseline. That one moment doesn't just earn a point, it sends energy shooting through the team that scored it. You see setters pushing the pace, hitters demanding the ball, defenders reacting faster. Meanwhile, the team on the receiving end often feels that shift immediately. Passes start drifting off target. The setter hesitates. The hitter swings safer instead of attacking the seam. In just 3 or 4 rallies, a small lead can vanish, and suddenly, the set belongs to the other side. This is why coaches work so hard to break an opponent's run early, calling a timeout, making a quick sub, or even slowing the serve routine. Because if you let that surge keep building, the game can run away from you before you realize it. 2. The clutch player myth. The clutch player myth is the belief that certain players always deliver in the biggest moments, that some hitters simply have it when the pressure's on. Fans love this idea, and players who get the clutch label often carry a certain aura. In reality, even the best under-pressure performances come down to preparation and opportunity. A so-called clutch outside hitter may have put away the final ball in 3 straight close sets, but in each of those moments, it was also because the pass was clean, the set was perfect, and the blockers were caught leaning the wrong way. That doesn't mean pressure doesn't exist. It does, and it's real. The key difference is that some players manage their nerves better than others. A calm approach, a consistent pre-serve or pre-hit routine, and trusting muscle memory allow them to execute under stress. But it's not magic, and it's not luck. It's repeatable skill meeting the right moment. The myth sticks because fans remember the game-winning kills far more than the errors, and a player's clutch reputation can grow even if the numbers tell a more balanced story. 3. The crowd effect hypothesis. The crowd effect hypothesis says that the energy from fans, especially at home, can directly influence performance. It's not just about noise. It's about atmosphere, familiarity, and emotional lift. A home crowd can boost adrenaline, giving players just enough extra jump height to stuff a block or enough speed to chase down a ball that might have been out of reach. The rhythm of the chants, the roar after a point, it all feeds into the team's sense of momentum and belonging. But the effect cuts both ways. That same intensity can cause overexcitement. A hitter might swing too hard and miss the court entirely, or a setter might rush a tricky back set that isn't needed. For visiting teams, the pressure is different. Communication gets harder, and even simple signals can be lost in the noise. The crowd doesn't decide the match, but it tilts the environment. Teams that learn to use the lift without letting it rush, their decisions get the real advantage. 4. Target serving theory. Target serving theory is about serving with a plan, not just to keep the ball in play, but to put it exactly where it hurts most. Every team has passers with different skill levels, and some are weaker under pressure. By repeatedly serving to the same target, you force them into uncomfortable positions, which can break down their entire offense. Psychological targeting takes this one step further. Once a player starts shanking a few passes, doubt creeps in. They might start changing their stance, overcompensating, or even hesitating before the serve arrives. You see this spiral in matches when a top team suddenly can't side out because their weak link is getting every single serve. Coaches often combine this with rotation strategy, serving to the weak passer when they're forced to also attack from the back row, taking away their hitting option and making them a liability in 2 phases at once. It's not personal. It's just volleyball math. The difference is, here, you're using the human side of the game to your advantage. 5. Serve-receive zonal theory. Serve-receive zonal theory is the system of dividing the court into strict reception lanes. Each passer is responsible for their zone. No last-second guessing. No chasing balls meant for someone else. This structure minimizes overlap mistakes and gives the setter a cleaner ball to work with. When it works well, it feeds directly into the first ball side-out principle. The idea that winning the rally immediately after the opponent's serve is one of the biggest predictors of set victories. A good first-pass offense avoids letting the server get comfortable, and it prevents the kind of multi-point runs that shift momentum. In high-level matches, you'll see teams adjust their zones mid-game. If a jump server keeps targeting seams, the passers will close that gap tighter, even if it means giving up more sideline space. Every tiny tweak is about making sure the setter has options on that very first play, because a clean side-out is the fastest way to kill an opponent's momentum. 6. Tempo variation theory. Tempo variation theory is the art of changing set speeds and rally rhythms to disrupt the opponent's defense. Some plays call for lightning-fast quicks to the middle, forcing blockers to react instantly. Others slow the ball down with high outside sets, making defenders wait and hesitate. Game pace control is the broader version of this, deciding whether the overall match runs hot or cold. Against a team with big blockers but slower footwork, a coach might push for faster plays to the pins. Against a scrappy defensive squad, slowing down rallies can frustrate them and force errors. One example you'll see often is a setter opening a set with rapid-fire quicks, then suddenly switching to a high, loopy ball to the outside. That change in rhythm throws off timing, and even the best blockers can find themselves half a step late. It's not about one speed being better. It's about owning the choice of when to shift gears. 7. 5-1 versus 6-2. Offense debate. The 5-1 offense puts a single setter in charge of running the show from start to finish. That means one voice, one rhythm, and a lot of consistency. The setter gets more touches, builds better chemistry with hitters, and can disguise plays because the offense always looks the same coming from them. When the setter is in the front row, you only have 2 front row attackers instead of 3. The 6-2 offense solves that by using 2 setters who alternate, each one setting from the back row, so you always keep 3 front row hitters. On paper, it's more firepower, but it also means less rhythm for each setter and fewer chances to read the defense in real time. You'll see national teams stick with the 5-1 for stability, while some college programs use the 6-2 to maximize young hitters' opportunities. Neither is better. It's about whether you want the rock-solid feel of a single setter or the relentless wave of 3 attackers at all times. 8. Spread offense theory. Spread offense theory is about stretching the defense until it snaps. Instead of focusing attacks in one area, setters send the ball all over the net, left, right, quick middle, even back row pipes, so blockers never know where to commit. This style works best when every hitter is a threat. If your opposite can swing as hard as your outside, and your middle can score off quicks, the defense is constantly chasing. It also forces blockers to make more lateral moves, which increases the chances of arriving late and leaving seams in the wall. The risk is that not all attackers handle out-of-system balls equally well. A spread offense without strong passing can turn into a string of easy high balls that let the defense settle in. Done right, though, it's a nightmare to defend because every player looks dangerous on every point. 9. Pipe attack. Surprise factor. The pipe attack comes from the middle of the back row, usually from position 6. It's a weapon teams pull out to overload the blockers when they're already stretched covering the pins. When timed perfectly, the pipe can be devastating. The ball comes from deeper in the court, but the set is still quick enough to catch blockers mid-shift. In international play, teams often disguise it by starting the back row hitter low, making it look like they're covering for defense until they explode into the jump. It's not a tool for every rotation, but as a surprise option, it changes the shape of the rally. A team that uses the pipe well forces the opponent to always keep one blocker aware of the back row, even when the front line already feels overloaded. 10. Rotational defense theory. Rotational defense theory is a positioning system where defenders shift into specific zones as the play develops, rather than staying fixed. It's about anticipating where the attack will go based on the set and the hitter's tendencies. The commit block adds another layer. Blockers decide in advance who they're going to follow, based on scouting. For example, if the opponent's middle scores 70% on quicks, the blocker commits to that quick, even if it risks leaving the outside hitter one-on-one. When these two ideas work together, the defense feels like it's reading minds. The risk is that if the read is wrong, you leave huge gaps, but in the right matchup, it can take away an opponent's favorite option completely, forcing them into lower percentage plays. 11. Block penetration. Physics. Block penetration. Physics is the science of what happens over the net. It's not enough to jump high. Your hands have to reach into the opponent's space to seal off hitting lanes. Good blockers press their shoulders forward and angle their wrists to funnel the ball down into their own court. Stacked block defense prioritizes getting the tallest and strongest blockers together against the other team's biggest hitter, even if it means adjusting the rotation. This can intimidate attackers and force them into riskier swings. In matches where the stacked block works, hitters start trying to tool the block instead of swinging clean, which lowers their scoring efficiency. It's a gamble, but if you have the height and timing, it can completely neutralize an opponent's star. 12. Arm swing. Kinetic chain theory. The arm swing. Kinetic chain theory is about how power flows through the body when you hit a volleyball. It's not just the arm. The motion starts in the legs, travels through the hips and core, and finishes in the shoulder, elbow, and wrist. When every link in that chain fires in sequence, you get maximum speed and control. What separates great hitters is how they reset for the next play. Quick arm recovery means snapping the arm back into a neutral position after contact, so you're ready for blocking or defending almost instantly. This is especially important in long rallies, where a slow recovery can take you out of the next move before it even starts. Watch elite outside hitters in transition. They hit, land, and their arm is already coming back to balance. It's a tiny detail that adds up over dozens of points. 13. Jump load and explode. Theory. Jump load and explode. Theory focuses on storing energy before takeoff. Good jumpers bend at the hips, knees, and ankles in one smooth motion, then extend in the reverse order for maximum lift. This load phase isn't a squat. It's a quick, elastic stretch that primes the muscles like a spring. Landing mechanics is the other half of the equation. Without it, that explosive jump turns into a long-term injury. The safest landings happen when players absorb impact with bent knees, balanced hips, and weight evenly distributed, not collapsing forward or twisting on one leg. Teams that train both the jump and the landing not only get higher verticals, but also keep their hitters healthy over long seasons. 14. Approach angle efficiency theory. Approach angle efficiency is about geometry. If you approach too straight to the net, you limit your hitting options. Too wide, and you lose power. The best angles give you room to attack both cross-court and down the line without telegraphing your choice. Contact point height ties directly into this. The higher you meet the ball, the more angles you can create over or around the block. That's why taller players with good timing are so dangerous. They don't just hit harder. They can see and exploit spaces most hitters can't reach. Even shorter attackers can level the playing field by adjusting their approach to meet the ball at their personal peak height. 15. Topspin versus float serve mechanics. Topspin serves drop faster and kick off the floor, making them hard to pass. They rely on brushing up on the ball at contact and driving it deep into the court. Float serves, on the other hand, have no spin. They move unpredictably through the air, sometimes breaking just before they reach the passer. Risk-reward serving is the decision-making side. A high-risk topspin bomb can win a point outright, or hand one over with a miss. Float serves are safer but easier to handle if the passer reads them early. The best servers mix the two, using game situation to decide whether to go for the knockout or simply disrupt the opponent's offense enough to slow them down. 16. Core stability theory. Core stability isn't about six-pack abs. It's about the deep muscles that keep your body balanced and connected. Every jump, swing, or dive relies on a stable core to transfer energy efficiently from the lower body to the upper body. A strong core helps players hold their form under pressure, whether that's staying balanced on a tough set or controlling the body midair to avoid crashing into a teammate. Teams that invest time in core strength see fewer injuries and more consistent performance in long rallies. 17. Transition priority theory. Transition priority is about capitalizing on the moment right after a defensive play, a dig, a block touch, or a scrappy save. Too many teams just send the ball over in this situation. Elite teams treat it like a golden scoring chance. When your defense scrambles to keep the ball alive, the other side often isn't ready for a fast counter. If you set quickly and attack with intent, you can catch blockers flat-footed and passers out of position. The teams that turn transition plays into points consistently are the ones that turn close sets into wins. 18. Three-touch optimization theory. Volleyball gives you 3 contacts for a reason. And the three-touch optimization theory is about using all of them with purpose. A perfect pass to the setter, a deliberate set to the hitter, and a clean spike are almost always more effective than rushing or forcing a 1 or 2 touch play. This doesn't mean slow, it means controlled. Even in high-speed rallies, the best teams keep the ball in system, making each touch set up the next one for maximum impact. 19. Decoy hitter effect. The decoy hitter effect is proof that you can change a play without ever touching the ball. A strong hitter drawing blockers, even without getting set, can open massive gaps for teammates. This is why you'll sometimes see an outside hitter sprint to the pin and jump as if they're about to crush the ball, only for the set to go to a middle or a back row attacker. It's not wasted energy, it's chess on a volleyball court, pulling defenders out of position so someone else can score. 20. Momentum control tools. Momentum control tools are the in-game levers coaches and captains pull when the emotional tide starts to turn against them. The most obvious ones are timeouts and substitutions, stopping play to break the rhythm of an opponent who's on a run. But there's more to it than just stalling. A smart coach might call a timeout right before the other team serves for a big point, giving their server extra time to think and possibly overhit. Or they might sub in a taller blocker for a single rotation to intimidate an opposing hitter who's been scoring freely. Even the way a coach uses a challenge, whether or not they truly think a call will be overturned, can buy a team precious seconds to reset mentally. This ties closely to the scoring pressure theory, which says that certain points carry more psychological weight than others. The closer you get to 25, or the more a set swings between tied scores, the heavier each rally feels. Teams that master momentum control during these high-pressure points often turn what could have been a lost set into a comeback win. 21. Short-term tanking theory. Short-term tanking theory is controversial, and it's exactly what it sounds like. In tournaments with pool play or round-robin formats, a team might intentionally lose a match to create a more favorable bracket in the knockout stage. It's rare, and most coaches would never admit to it, but the logic is cold. If you're already through to the next round, losing to control who you face later can be strategically tempting. The risk, of course, is that you give your players the wrong mindset. Playing below your best, even once, can stick, and opponents might sense an opening. It's the kind of decision that sparks heated debate among fans. Is it smart long-term strategy or a betrayal of competition? 22. Beach volleyball side switch ritual. In beach volleyball, players switch sides of the court every 7 points in a set to even out conditions like wind, sun, or glare. That's the official rule. But beyond the regulation, some players have personal rituals tied to side switching, and these can play into performance psychology. Some duos will use every switch as a mental reset, wiping away mistakes and starting fresh. Others use it to quickly tweak tactics, whispering about a change in serve target or blocking scheme without giving away their plan to the opponents. And yes, sometimes it's pure superstition, tapping the net pole, switching water bottles to the opposite hand, or stepping over the sideline in a certain way. It might sound trivial, but when the conditions on one side are tougher, or the match is tight, those rituals and adjustments can be the difference between winning and chasing the game. 23. The hot hand fallacy. The hot hand fallacy is the belief that a player who's been scoring repeatedly is more likely to keep scoring. Fans love it, coaches talk about it, and teammates often feed the hot player until they cool off. Statistically, volleyball, like basketball, doesn't always support the idea. Success in one rally doesn't guarantee success in the next. What often is real is the confidence boost. A hitter who scored 3 straight points might swing more aggressively, which can lead to more kills or more errors. The key is balance. Keep rewarding a player who's producing, but don't forget to keep the offense unpredictable. Overusing a hot hand can make your attack easy to read, and that's when defenses adjust and shut it down. 24. Kill-to-error ratio theory. In volleyball, every kill counts, but every error costs you just as much. The kill-to-error ratio theory focuses on maintaining the right balance between aggressive attacking and mistake prevention. A player who scores 20 points but commits 15 hitting errors isn't necessarily helping their team. Conversely, a player who only scores 8 points but keeps errors to a minimum might be just as valuable, depending on the situation. Coaches use this ratio to decide when to tell a player to swing for the fences versus when to take a safer shot. In tight matches, protecting the ball can be as important as scoring with it. Great teams understand that the scoreboard rewards efficiency just as much as power. Volleyball isn't just about spikes and serves. It's a game of ideas. Theories shape how teams play, how they think, and how they win. If you want more stories and strategies that change the way you watch the game, hit subscribe. The next theory might just be your favorite one yet.